Hello everyone, welcome to Amazing World channel. So today we are going to be seeing the part 2 of life processes. If you had not seen the part 1, go ahead and check it out on our channel. So today we are going to be discussing one of the most important topics of science, that is nutrition. So let us see more about the topic. So what is nutrition actually? First we can begin with the definition of energy. So like we are doing different activities like writing, running, cycling. So we are actually using up energy. Without energy we can do none of these things. So even when we are not doing any activity, like we are not running, we are just resting, energy is needed to maintain a state of order in our body. So we need energy to perform functions such as digestion and everything. So you're not performing any apparent actions which is seen outside, but still you need energy anyway. So we need materials from outside in order to give us that energy. So nutrition gives us energy. So we take nutrition to grow, develop and to make proteins and other substances needed in our body. So we get energy from the materials we eat. So now how do human beings and other animals like dogs, cats and even other organisms like fungi get their nutrition? So the general requirement that all organisms need energy for need nutrition for energy is common to all organisms, but it is fulfilled in different ways. So in some organisms, food material is obtained from inorganic sources. Like they take in carbon dioxide and water, for example plants. So plants take in carbon dioxide and water and undergo photosynthesis, the process of photosynthesis to form food to make energy. So these organisms are called autotrophs. So some organisms take in complex substances. Like for example, we take in food. So the food we take in is divided into carbohydrates, proteins, fats, minerals, vitamins and everything. So it's a complex source. All of them are present together. So to break down everything, so we have to break down the food into carbohydrates and everything singularly so that we can get energy. So to do that we need something which is called enzymes. We need enzymes to break down the food into smaller substances. So the organisms which take in complex substances like us are called heterotrophs. So the plants which take in carbon dioxide and water and make their own food, they are called autotrophs. So heterotrophic organisms also include animals and fungi. So now to make things a little bit simpler, we are going to see a very easy and simple classification of the how nutrition is different in different animals. First, I am going to draw you and show you a flow chart. First, we are writing the general concept of nutrition. We are discussing the mode of nutrition adopted by different animals. So first you can see nutrition. So there are two modes of nutrition. So one mode is autotroph. You can also say it as autotrophic. The next mode is heterotrophs. I can also say it as heterotrophic. So first we have autotrophs and heterotrophs. Autotrophs are plants which they make their own food. Autotrophs are organisms which make their own food. Like they take in substances, inorganic substances like carbon dioxide and water, and they make their own food by the process of photosynthesis. This cannot be applicable to humans since we take food as food. For energy we need food and not carbon dioxide and water. We cannot synthesize our own food, and now these are heterotrophs. We cannot synthesize our own food, and there are three types of heterotrophs. So the first type is saprophytic. So the next one is parasitic. And the third and last one is Holozoic. Now you should see these are three important classifications of heterotrophs. First, what is saprophytic? So saprophytic are organisms that eat the dead and decaying. So one major example which you can find out is fungi. As you can see on many dead and decaying molds, you can see fungus. So fungus are saprophytic. They break down the dead and decaying plants or any sort of things, and they break in and they use it as food. So that is saprophytic. So now parasitic. What is parasitic? For example, it is actually an organism which depends on a living organism and takes its food. For example, we can think about the worms. The worms live on other organisms and they take their food. Or if you want an example from plants, you have the cascata, which is actually a parasitic plant. It grows on top of other plants and takes their food. Next, you have Holozoic method of nutrition. So that is the method by which we eat. We take in food as food. We do not eat any decaying organisms or anything. So that is Holozoic. In Holozoic, we have humans, cats, dogs and all other animals. So once again, we are discussing about the mode of nutrition. So it is different in different creatures. So the first, it is divided into autotrophic and heterotrophic. Autotrophic are organisms which make their own food, for example plants. Heterotrophic animals, they do not make their own food, they take in food. So heterotrophic is divided into saprophytic, parasitic, Holozoic. Saprophytic break down the dead and decaying matter and they take it as food. Parasitic, they infest upon other organisms and take their food. Holozoic, they take in food just like us. So I hope you are clear with the classifications. Now we can go back to the lesson. So now as I told you what is autotrophic nutrition, we are going to see in detail about autotrophic nutrition. So first, carbon and energy requirements of the autotrophic organisms are fulfilled by photosynthesis. Like plants make food from by the method of photosynthesis. So the autotrophs, the plants take in substances from the outside, like it take carbon dioxide. The leaves take in carbon dioxide and the roots take in water and convert them into stored forms of energy. So it is taken on form of carbon dioxide, as I said, and water before. So that carbon dioxide is converted into carbohydrates in the presence of sunlight and chlorophyll. Chlorophyll is the substance which is present in leaves that gives it the green color. You might have heard of chlorophyll and you might know it actually. So I mean, it is an interesting fact actually. So during autumn you can see so many trees renew their leaves actually. If you see in many countries, you can see leaves, the foliages turn a different color like yellow. You can see so many hues like yellow, red and so many colors. So what is the reason is as the autumn season, which is from September, it is from October to November in some places. In some places it is September, October, November. The trees start renewing their leaves. Older leaves fall down and new leaves start forming. So during that time, while the leaves are dying, all the chlorophyll is taken away from the leaf and that gives a like a reddish color, yellowish color, and it is quite fun to see in the autumn season, of course. So chlorophyll is a pigment. It is actually a pigment which gives the green color of the leaves. Chlorophyll is necessary for making food to perform photosynthesis. So the carbohydrates which are not used immediately are stored in the form of starch, which serve as the internal energy reserve to be used as when and required by the plant. Imagine you are going to a grocery store and you are buying quite a lot of vegetables like a 1 kg carrot or a set of carrots, then some vegetables, carrots, onions and everything. So you take them home. You do not cook everything immediately. You are not like, oh, I am going to take all the carrots and I am going to cook something using everything I have brought from the grocery store. No, you don't do that. You take some carrots, you cook them and the remaining you keep it in the fridge. Same way the plants use some food that they really need and store the remaining ones for future seasons. So somewhat a similar situation in seems the human beings also. The food we eat is stored in the body in the form of glycogen. So let us see the next page. So as we can see here, this is one of the most commonest equation you will ever see, that is carbon dioxide plus water in the presence of chlorophyll and sunlight gives glucose plus oxygen. So you know C6H12O6 is formula of glucose. So this is an important equation which you need to learn, which you need to by heart, because it is truly important. So now we are going to see a wonderful diagram. So they are showing the cross section of a leaf. So this is a diagram on the top. This is a leaf. As I said, the green pigment is given by the chlorophyll. Now the center one is called the midrib of the leaf, as you can see here, and this is lamina or leaf blade. So as you can see, there are so many veins present in the leaf, and through the midrib passes the phloem and the xylem, which are vascular bundles. So if you are not familiar with the concept before, phloem carries the food and xylem carries the water. They are actually vascular structures present in the plant used for transport of food and water. Phloem carries the food and xylem carries the water. Now this is actually a cross section of leaf. So as I said, this is chloroplast, and these are air spaces, and these are guard cells. You might know the guard cells perform specific functions. You might know the leaves contain so many stomata, which are small openings. Guard cells help in closing and opening of the stomata. And this is the upper epidermis, and this is a waxy cuticle. So next we are going to see what actually happens during photosynthesis. So the following events occurs during this process. So first the light is absorbed by the chlorophyll. Now the light is converted into chemical energy, and water is splitted into hydrogen and oxygen, and carbon dioxide is reduced to carbohydrates. So this does not take place like in an orderly wise manner. So some desert plants, you might know, plants which are present in desert, they take a carbon dioxide at night and prepare an intermediate which is acted upon by the energy absorbed by the chlorophyll during the day. So like they take in they take in carbon dioxide only at night. So one question I have for you guys, why is not carbon dioxide taken during the morning? So why is it taken during night in desert plants? So it might be really easy if you think about the concept behind it. I just told you about the stomata and everything. I hope you guys know about the concept of evaporation. So what is evaporation? So during a hot climate, the water present in the plant especially, it passes out through the leaves, and the water flows out into the atmosphere. So that is called evaporation. So during, especially in deserts where the sunshine is so strong, the water starts moving out of the leaves so fast. So that is why if the stomata is open during the day, a lot of water is lost. So and the problem is that in desert you do not get water very getting water is so rare actually. It will be so dry, and the plant has to have a deep root to get at least some water. So it's so hard to regain water after you have lost it. So you cannot open the stomata during the day because the water will undergo evaporation. So you need to take the carbon dioxide at night. Okay, now we are going to see how each of these components of the above reactions are necessary for photosynthesis. So I showed you the diagram, right? So if you observe this under a cross section of a microscope, if you observe the cross section of the leaf under microscope, you will notice some cells containing green dots. The green dots are called chloroplasts. They are actually organelles which contain chlorophyll. So they have put an activity regarding how to demonstrate this in principle. So just I'll tell you, it is a very interesting topic. So first you have to take a potted plant. A plant in a pot with variegated leaves, for example money plant or crotons. Variegated leaves means they have different color leaves, and keep the plant in a dark room for 3 days so all the starch get used up. So what is starch? I told you that the plant store the carbohydrates as starch for later use. So after it gets used up, now keep the plant in sunlight. So you need to pluck a leaf from the plant and mark the green areas of it and trace them on a sheet of paper. Now dip it in the boiling water for few minutes. After this, put it in a beaker containing alcohol. Place the above beaker in a water bath and heat till the alcohol begins to boil. What happens to the color of the leaf? What is the color of the solution? Now dip the leaf in a diluted solution of iodine for a few minutes. Take out the leaf and rinse off the iodine solution. Now observe the color of the leaf and compare it with the tracing of the leaf done in the beginning. What can you conclude about the presence of starch in various areas of the leaf? So as we have shown, by the act of boiling and everything, the plant loses its chlorophyll, and in the area where the chlorophyll is not found, you do not get any presence of starch there. So as you can see, the green areas which contain chlorophyll, only those areas contain starch, because chlorophyll is necessary for making the carbohydrate, for making the photosynthetic reactions. You need chlorophyll, so only in the areas that contain chlorophyll, the green areas, you have starch, because starch is only made with the help of chlorophyll. So that was such an interesting experiment. Now they have a few more experimental setups. So now we'll see about, we'll study how the plant obtains carbon dioxide. So this is what I told you. We have stomatas. So gaseous exchanges take place. So the carbon dioxide comes through the stomatas. So it does not occur only on the leaves. It occurs across stems, roots, and everything. So since large amount of water, it can undergo evaporation. Plants closes them when it does not need carbon dioxide for photosynthesis. So the guard cells swell when water flows into them, causing the stomatal pore to open. Similarly, the pore closes if the guard cells shrink. So you can see this is the guard cells and stomatal pore and chloroplast. This is another activity. You have to take 2 potted plants and keep them in dark room for 3 days. Now place it on separate glass plates. So place a watch glass containing potassium hydroxide by the side of one of the plants. It absorbs carbon dioxide. So cover it with 2 bell jars. So use Vaseline to seal them. So keep it in the sunlight for about 2 hours. Pluck a leaf from each plant and check for the presence of starch in the above activity. So you have to see, so in one they have kept a potassium hydroxide setup, as you can see here, watch glass containing potassium hydroxide. So it absorbs the carbon dioxide. So here there is less presence of starch because carbon dioxide is not present, and it is needed for photosynthesis. So far we have talked about how autotrophs meet their energy requirements. They also require other raw materials like water. It is taken by the roots. Also it contains materials like nitrogen, phosphorus, iron and magnesium. Nitrogen is an important element used in synthesis of proteins and other compounds. So they are taken as inorganic nitrates or nitrites, or it is taken up as organic compounds which has been prepared by bacteria from atmospheric nitrogen. So you might know some plants find it difficult, especially the leguminous plants, they find it difficult to take the nitrogen from the atmosphere. So some bacteria like cyanobacteria take in the nitrogen and convert them into nitrates or nitrites, which is easy for the plant to use. So next class we will be seeing about the heterotrophic nutrition. So it is a really interesting form of nutrition, as I discussed before. So it is a very interesting concept and really easy. So I hope you revise this well. So thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned for our next video and subscribe to our channel. Thank you.